the American people stand firm in the faith which has inspired this nation from the beginning. We believe that all men have a right to equal justice under law and equal opportunity to share in the common good. We believe that all men have the right to freedom of thought and expression. We believe that all men are created equal because they are created in the image of God. From this faith, we will not be moved.
Hello, God bless America, and welcome to the Freedom of Thought podcast. I'm your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awige, and Freedom of Thought is available on all your favorite podcasting apps. Always a great pleasure. Thank you once and always for downloading and listening to this show. It is always a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. As today we're going to kind of sort of wrap up the year, I guess, with Freedom of Thought, and of course we'll have much more shows, I would hope, going into the new year, going forward into 2023, and of course we're hoping and praying that we'll have some kind of revival, some of the evil will be exposed, and then we can finally head in the right direction somehow, some way. Of course, as the Bible says, don't put your faith in princes, and Bob Bierman always brings that up on Truth to Ponder. I know I reference him all the time because, well, I love what he does, I respect what he does. He just might be listening as well, possibly, because in the demographics it shows two different cities in Virginia, and one of them was pretty close to Chilhowie. So I'm wondering, maybe, just in case he's listening, let me know. That'd be great. At Freedom of Thought. I'm also, again, Joey Awige on Facebook. So, and I think he's got he's emailed me before, or we've emailed me back and forth, bluepaladinjoey@hotmail.com. That's the personal email. But, that's actually my second highest, Ashburn, Virginia, and Bristol, Virginia. So very interesting to think. Maybe he has checked it out. Hopefully he likes the show, just in case. But yeah, he's often referenced that. No, I keep making it like about just refographics. I'm sorry. But no, he's often referenced that, you can't put your faith in princes because, you get all excited to vote, this and that, and, things maybe sometimes improve a little bit for a second, but they never really, truly do. It just seems like evil always seems to win every single time. So it kind of all depends on us, basically. Not only we have to find the right people to vote for, not just because it's Democrat, Republican, but to find the right Republicans, per se, to vote for. And by one grace of God, if there's an actual good Democrat out there, which is becoming harder and harder to find, maybe way back in the day, there were a few. Jimmy Carter not included, despite the fact he was a Christian. He was kind of out there and crazy. Other stuff we could talk about as well is hearing how, I heard talks about Jim Calhoun was one of Bob's friends. He also does the Off the Grid podcast, basically. Look him up, Jim Calhoun. He said how he tunes pianos. That's one of the things he would do, and for churches and such. And he did it for this Episcopalian church, and the pastor basically called God like a fairy tale, like a sky daddy, basically, or star daddy. That just blows my mind. Episcopalian church, the pastor of a church, like the pastor, the main guy, would say that God is basically like a fairy tale. So what the heck are you doing a church for? So it's stuff like that just blows your mind, and you're hoping and praying going into the new year that there'll be less and less of churches like that. Don't go to a church like that, let me tell you. If your pastor tells you that God is basically a fairy tale, get the heck out of there. You're in the wrong place. It also, again, tells you, as we come back to politics, just what kind of good Christians the Bushes were. Because they were Episcopalians. The Bushes, H.W. and W. Bush, Episcopalian. How we all talked about, H.W. Bush is a stronger Christian than Ronald Reagan. I still remember hearing that back in '88. And I remember how it's like, everything seemed worse immediately when he took over. And then, from Reagan, him being H.W. Bush. And then from, obviously from Bush to Clinton, it got much worse, even more so. And then, and then with H.W. Bush, it didn't get better. So that's the whole thing about putting your faith in princes. The only president that really did something was Trump. There actually was an improvement. The stock market got better. The jobs got better. Literally everything got better because we stopped basically selling our souls to the Chinese, basically. So, and again, I have nothing against Chinese people, but but let's just say communist China, the actual, communist government of China. That's where I have a problem. And obviously a lot of people have moved from China to the United States to get away from that. So that's the whole point, to get away from the actual Communist Party of China. So again, and obviously there's many people that did. So again, looking at New Year's, I've always thought New Year's is overrated, especially New Year's Eve. The way everybody goes crazy over it, they just flip out like it's the biggest thing in the world. It's okay, that's cool. It's instead of 2022, it's 2023. Instead of 1988, it's 1989, and so on and so forth. That's great, but at the same time, you come back to the same job, you come back to the same apartment or house or whatever, the same this, the same that. Not a whole lot changes. The positive glass half full way to look at it is, this year I'm going to move up. I'm going to get out of this type of work and move up to the next level. That's the positive way to look at it, to set goals. I understand that part. But to go ape crap over that is kind of silly, the way people do. Obviously, it's another excuse to drink as well. But those are the kind of people that would drink because it's Tuesday, the 2nd of February. Like, they would drink because it's anything. It's sunny out, drink. Cloudy out, drink. Tuesday, drink. Wednesday, drink. Friday, drink. Oh, definitely Friday. Oh, Christmas, drink. Thanksgiving, drink. Day before Thanksgiving, drink. Easter, drink. Really? Easter, drink? That's kind of sad. But just to make it like, obviously when I say drink, I mean they really drink. I don't mean a glass of wine, which I think is perfectly innocent for the most part. Not everybody would agree with that even, but just saying. Yes, I'm kind of branching all over the place, bouncing all over, but, well, that's kind of what New Year's is, because it can go in any direction at the end of the day when you talk about going into 2023. The hope is, again, to identify the right people. And I don't know, and all of us were super disappointed with how things turned out. But I think we all know there's a pretty good chance there was cheating all over the place. It doesn't mean every single election was cheating, but there's a pretty good chance that several of them were, especially the really close ones. And it always seemed to wind up like a Democrat winning, just like the Tom and Jerry cartoon. Jerry the mouse runs in the little mouse hole. Tom the cat reaches in. And all of a sudden, his hand gets bit, and it's a bulldog. It's just nonsense like that. Jerry, or like the Wile E. Coyote, walks up to a big rock, or like a mountain basically, and paints a tunnel. And then the Democrat would be like the Roadrunner, runs right through it. Okay, oh wow, so maybe we do have a chance. I'm going to go catch up to him now. And then, bam, he runs into it, because it's the mountain again. And, the Charlie Brown thing with Lucy pulling it away. I could go on all day. It's all predictable. It's like you knew that was going to happen, right? That's the whole point. That you knew Wile E. Coyote would ram into the mountain. You knew Lucy would pull the ball away from Charlie Brown, and so on and so forth. You knew that... that when the mouse walked across the platform with nothing underneath him, it was okay. But when the cats did, down he went. It could just go on and on. It's insanely, stupidly predictable. Oh, let's see. It's a close one. It's a runoff. It's a runoff for Herschel Walker and Warnock, the Warlock. That's a good one right there. I heard that one. That's a really good one. Who has literally nothing good to talk about at all. Just every single policy and every single view on life is he's just completely warped. How could anybody vote for him and call themselves a Christian? And I've heard some disturbing stuff about that. I'll come back to that maybe in a second if I feel like it. I'm kind of scared too a little bit, but yeah, it's things like that. And then what a coincidence. Warnock wins. Warnock wins over Herschel Walker. That's just one example. The whole Hobbs and Lake. What a surprise. And Hobbs was basically like a bully the whole time. She was actually in control of the whole situation anyway. Like anybody that would dare go against me, they're going to get locked up. And basically, she tried to get Lake in trouble, and thankfully a judge in Arizona denied it. So that's good news. At least there's some hope. There's some judges that might be decent, even though the Supreme Court has been insanely disappointing. They haven't helped us one bit, despite the fact there's supposedly more conservatives than liberals on the court now. But literally nothing good has come of it. So, yeah, the Arizona judge nixes Hobbs' request to sanction Lake. Think about that. So, which is just absolutely ridiculous. This is on Newsmax. A good place to go, generally speaking. Fox News is kind of like, who knows? Maybe that's just for like general news. I'm not sure what to say about that. The whole Russian-Ukraine war, that's another thing to worry about going into 2023. I mean, how involved is the U.S. going to get in this? We keep financing Ukraine. You can't tell me that's not basically allying with Ukraine and potentially like saber rattling with Russia. And the more and more people fawn over this Zelensky is just driving me nuts. Like John Cooper was basically like, look at the two. What was the word? I don't even remember. It was like some nonsense like D-bags or something terrible like that. Was like, look at the two D-bags that never once stood up for Zelensky, and well, the rest of the people applauded, stood and applauded for him. Why do we need to stand up and applaud for Zelensky? He's done, what good has he truly done? And quite honestly, he was a very immoral comedian, to be fair. He could have ended this war a long time ago. And again, it's not like Russia's the good guys. They're not. It was wrong what they did. But at the same time, this could have ended a lot sooner. And now the possibility of it escalating all the way up to World War III, it still exists. There are wars, which is this one. Rumors of wars like World War III. There was always rumors of wars with Iran and all that. Remember that? That went on and on forever, and it's still going on. Israel possibly attacking Iran. Iran possibly attacking Israel, which would be a tinderbox and set off World War III immediately. At least most likely. Pardon me, I'm trying not to choke to death here. My throat suddenly dried up on me. But yeah, that's an absolute tinderbox. I think everybody knows that. Everything Israel's brought up in anything, it can get really crazy. How do I feel about what... Instead of Kanye West, I guess he's called Ye now. Whatever that means, yay. Well, yay for you. Generally speaking, I'd like to say I agree with a lot of what he says, but admiring Hitler, that's going a little bit off the deep end. So no, I don't admire Hitler. I don't know where that came from. I talked about that on, what was it, back around Memorial Day. I talked about, it was on the Familiar Spirits episode, about what Hitler's going through in hell, like this guy that actually saw it. Yeah, so check that episode out. It's around Memorial Day 2022. Yeah, it's insane. So obviously Hitler wasn't good. There's a reason why he's in hell, and in a very special place in hell, as they say, and what he's going through constantly. It's extremely scary, actually. It really is. So, I mean, for him to be going through that, obviously, it's true, all the horrible things he did. There's no myth to it. So to admire Hitler, I'm not sure. John Cooper, if you basically want to laugh at how, and just to see how psychotic even some of the prominent Democrats out there are. John Cooper, formerly National Finance Chair of Kraft Biden, and what the heck does that even mean? Campaign chair for Barack Obama. Oh, great stuff. Tap subscribe to try subscribe tips to boost your messaging. Oh, what a great guy, right? So basically, it's like I don't even follow him. I just look him up now because why would I follow him? Why the heck would I follow him? It's on Twitter. John Cooper tweets, I guess, just to kind of like look and see how psychotic some of these people are. This guy is a veteran in the political world, an older guy, and you read some of the stuff he says. It just blows you away. And how great George Santos is, too, it looks like. John Cooper, here we go. Please do not share this pic of Maggie NYT hanging out with her bestie. She'll be really upset. Interesting. That's with Donald Trump. I'm not even sure what he means there. He actually posted that one twice. Okay, here we go. Interesting. George Santos. That's not George Soros, George Santos, so we'll leave that alone. Interesting. Absolutely crazy. I wish I could see more here, but yeah, I mean, when I run into stuff. Yep, so my husband, Robert Cooper, and I were the first gay male couple in the U.S. to adopt kids. We adopted our first child nearly 38 years ago, and all 5 of our kids are now amazing young adults. As we always say, love makes a family. I don't know. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want to grow up in a gay couple family. I mean, I don't know what that could even be like, so I'm not sure. That would be kind of tough. But I guess it is what it is. I shouldn't even get into it. What word annoys you when you hear it? It's interesting to see some of the applies. I don't even want to go. Literally. Okay, let's get out of here. That's just nonsense. So nothing super interesting at the moment. What do you say to Texans who want to secede? Well, and then of course he's got that wonderful, wonderful rainbow White House as his cover photo on Twitter, and reminds us that, oh, there you go, just absolutely great to see him with Joe Biden. It's the best thing you ever saw, isn't it? Oh, just wonderful stuff. So I don't know, these people are crazy. Raise your hand if you're voting against Trump in 2024. I want everyone to follow you. Ooh, that's wonderful to know. So, sorry. No, I mean, the hope is, again, that we can find the right people again. And the hope is that going into 2023, again, just don't be afraid to let your voice be heard. Vote for, as we vote for even like mayors and city council and such, hope and pray to God that we can get the right people in those positions. I'm very, very, I have very little confidence that Golden Valley, Minnesota is going to change. I think this is a cobalt blue area, but if you're in an area that's kind of been back and forth and there is a chance, maybe, just maybe. But I suppose even here in Golden Valley, Minnesota, even maybe somehow, some way, because maybe people are sitting on their hands and not really voting. They're not really paying attention. They think it's just, oh, the Democrat will always win or whatever. Then maybe try to run. Maybe try to run and try to get through. Because maybe, just maybe, you could make a difference if you're somebody. It's something I wouldn't mind trying one of these days. It's like I gotta grow some. I gotta grow something down there and become a bit more courageous when it comes to doing something like that. And of course, other people should try to do that as well. If you feel like you have the confidence to get into politics, maybe try to run for city council in certain places. Maybe you can make that big difference out there. In rural areas, you absolutely can, but even maybe in city suburbs as well. So, of course, again, with an odd number, we're a year away from presidential election stuff really kicking in 2024. So again, you have a year to kind of get ready, gear up and all that and such. And I'm sure some of the politics will start even before that. Because I remember back in 2015, Trump was already very, 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 very visible. There were even conversations and debates all the way back in September 2015. I think that was the first big giant Republican debate where it was like 10 or like 12 different Republicans. And it just came right out of my mouth. When Trump walked by the camera, I said, "There's the president." And that was way, way back in September 15. So that was kind of an exciting moment thinking about that. And then, so hopefully he'll have a chance again. Obviously, the unattractive side of that is he can only run for 4 years and that's it. Whereas the DeSantis can run for 8, but maybe Trump could get in and then obviously push DeSantis and pray to God that people will finally wake up enough to not only the lying and cheating, but also the fact that how much better it is with Trump versus like a Biden or anybody like him. Obviously, there's plenty of young people that are even worse, like the AOCs and such of the world. So that's what you're trying to hope for going into this new year. What we all need to do, though, is to kind of, again, continue to venture from politics to this, to Christianity and politics, and bounce all over the place. But we all need to do more, including myself in a big way, going into 2023, is we need to pray more. We absolutely need to pray more. We need to take command. That's what God wants us to do. He gave us the authority to take command. Like, Satan, take your hands off of this country in the name of Jesus. Satan, take your hands off of this city of Golden Valley. There will be no green step. And you just have to take command. Not just, oh, Lord, please, Lord, let us find somebody, let us find the right person. No, you have to take command, have more of a forceful approach. That's what he wants you to do. So that's what God wants us to do. He gave us the authority. And oftentimes I forget that. And that's what we need to do. Some of you may not want me to get all religious on you, but it kind of is what it is. This is where we're at now. This is where we're at. We need to pray more. We need to have courage at the same time as well. Obviously, you don't want to get in a fight with somebody that's not going to listen, ever. Some green-haired, crazy lunatic that, some green-haired, crazy lunatic that's just going to, they're set in their ways. Only God can change them. But again, that also takes prayer as well. Like, Satan, take your hands off of Melanie or whoever. Maybe it's your niece. Maybe it's your granddaughter. Maybe it's your actual daughter. Maybe it's your sister. Things like that. Maybe it's your aunt, God forbid. Wouldn't that be weird? Or your uncle, of course. It could be a guy too, of course, in so many ways. What else was I getting into? I had a thought about some of that. Yes, the whole situation with teachers and all that, trying to tell their kids in the classroom about they can be whatever they want, anything from a wolf to a girl being a man being a girl, a wolf, a cat, a dog, a mouse, a chicken, an eagle, whatever it is. Stand up to those people and try to get them out. Stand up to the school boards. We have to be more courageous in that sense. Don't let your kids go to a school like that. Don't let your kids go to a school like that without some kind of change. And there's no way that that's okay, that a teacher can literally manipulate your kids like that into becoming something that honestly they're not. Honestly, they're not. So a kid can choose whatever they're going to be at the end of the day. But I mean, you are a man, you are a woman, regardless. If you have different strange feelings, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, honestly. So it kind of is what that is. I shouldn't get too deep into that, but at the same time, maybe I should. Maybe I've been too chicken too. But, it's stuff like that. That's where the whole New Year thing is kind of silly, because it's the kind of changes and goals you could set any given day of the year. You could set them on December 27th. You could set them on December 30th, Friday, December 30th, when this show is being released, and you're listening to it. Friday, December, or whatever. June, Friday the 13th, 1978, whatever year. I'm just messing around. That's from the, the old movie from the late Friday the 13th. Yeah, set goals. I'm not going to go to Camp Crystal Lake without praying first. And without security guards as well. We're not going to Camp Crystal Lake. We're going to set a goal here. We're not going to get killed by this thing, whatever it is. I'm sorry, I had to say that. See, I'm going all over the place, but that's why it's called freedom of thought. It's again, that's why I keep coming back to New Year's being overrated. These are goals you can make any day. You want to lose weight, you can start that today. If it's February, if it's March, if it's January 1st, if it's January 31st or 30th or whatever the heck the month ends with. That's why New Year's is overrated, because you can set goals any day. You can set goals any day whatsoever. Of course, again, you just want to be sure that 2023 is better than 2022. I get that. You'd like to have a better, maybe you move up in your job, or you get closer to moving up in your job if it's something that takes a long time, so to speak. But you're making the right strides. Pray more is a big thing, I think. I think praying more is a huge thing. Pray for this country. Pray for our schools. Pray for our leaders. That, and tell the devil to stick it. Tell the devil to get his hands off of our country, our schools, our radio hosts, our TV, our local television news reporters and anchors. In the name of Jesus, tell him to get his hands off. That's what you need to do. Our podcast hosts, even just a sports podcast host that would say, "Oh, if you voted for Trump, F you." Can you imagine that? There's actually people that have done that, and it's like, really, you just unsubscribe, goodbye, stuff like that, bye. So, could you imagine if I said that? If you voted for Biden, bleep you. That would be, I'm not happy that you did. In fact, I'm really ticked off that you did. If it just didn't happen, you did. But am I going to tell you blank you and go away? No. Let's maybe you can turn things around now. Don't vote for Biden. Don't vote for Kamala Harris. Don't vote for, don't vote for your crazy left-wing mayor or whatever the heck it is. Try to make that change. That's the only hope you can go for going into the new year, and every single day, not just New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, or whatever it is, or the Chinese New Year, or whatever you want to call that. Gosh, talk about something that's constantly, everywhere, nonstop, and I think is overblown in a big way. So it's frankly, it's not of God. Honestly, it's not. But that's just that's another conversation for another day. But then again, maybe it is this day. It's one New Year is enough, quite frankly, as far as I'm concerned. But at the end of the day, I guess if you celebrate it, you celebrate it. With that said, all I can say is, I guess, Happy New Year. But set your goals all the time. Set your goals all the time. I've already said it 16 times now. Pray more. Focus more on the positive, the negative. Obviously, that's something I need to be way better at. Way better at. I can be glass half empty, boy, in a big way. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I can be very negative. I can be very positive. I've been called both many times in my life. So don't feel guilty one way or another. We've all been curmudgeons at times, except for some of you that are just sugar and spice and everything nice. Yeah, sure. Give me a break. Talk about myths. If you want to talk about myths, that's a myth. But again, yes, set your goals every day. Not just because it's New Year's and it's the happiest thing ever. Glug 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 glug. I'll see you 2 days from now when I finally sober up. Oh my God, that's so dumb. Before I sign off, I figure maybe I'll look at the so since there's no mailbag, I'll look at the demographics a little bit just for the fun of it. Again, like I always say, it's kind of like a new toy. Again, everything's on Anchor. Supposedly, I reached the goal number where I could have ads on the show. So where it's mostly just advertising for Anchor, which is totally fine. Yeah, if you want to start a podcast like this, go for it on Anchor. But yeah, it'd be nice if I could finally get the darn ad. I hope they're not shadow banning me and why it's been taking so long, because this was over a month ago, man. So I'm kind of annoyed. Geographic location, all that. There's only a little bit in one other country, and that's Germany, which is cool. It's almost all USA. But for the first time, finally somebody in Germany, and apparently it's in Hesse. So I have somebody in Germany that listens to this show and Video Game Flashback. Hesse, Germany. I once knew somebody with the last name Hesse, Dan Hesse, that I used to work with at U.S. Bank years ago. He was the team leader. Pretty cool guy. He was a big basketball fan, and he could play too. Older than me, but you could tell he could play. He could probably shoot real good and all that. But Hesse, Germany. So whoever you are, hello, and reach out sometime. Facebook.com/Freedom of Thought 1776. Twitter @Freedom of Thou 76. Reach out sometime to you in Germany, unless you stopped listening a long time ago. I hope you didn't. So in Minneapolis, okay, well, I guess that's the suburbs like Golden Valley. That still counts, I guess. 87% of Minnesota is the Minneapolis area. Anoka, that might be down at Espinwall, unless Champlin. Yeah, I think Champlin's Anoka, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's not. It might be so Minneapolis is basically Hennepin, basically, I'm guessing. Anoka, yep. Laverne, St. Paul, and Champlin. Okay, there's Donna. Champlin, Donna Aspinwall. Hello. Shout out to you. Hope you're still listening. I haven't annoyed you too much. I apologize if I have, because it's always possible to annoy. It's funny, though, when you go to geographic location, it even shows the planets, and also it goes as far as to say female, male, non-binary, not specified. What do they mean? 100% female? No, it's not 100% female. It's impossible. Nope, that's a lie. Unless it's just Spotify. Maybe this is just Spotify. That could be. Yeah, I wish it was a more accurate rating. So again, yeah, it says 100% female. That's not possible. It can't be. But I appreciate it if it is, though. I mean, I can name at least two. One in Minnesota, one in California, named Livia. Thank you so much. Virginia, Ashburn, and Bristol. I mentioned that already. Thank you so much. In Virginia. Iowa, that might be Mark Carlson. Sheldon, yeah, probably is. So proof that it's not all women. Mark Carlson, maybe his wife as well. South Dakota, Sioux Falls, cool. Keep clicking 1,000 times to get back. California, and it says not enough data. I hope she didn't stop listening. Livia, I hope you didn't stop listening. Hope I didn't tick you off, but you never know. Or she just got busy and behind, all that kind of stuff. Illinois, Chicago, and Gurney. Interesting. Illinois. Nebraska. Yep, that should be Gerald String. Scotts Bluff. Cool. I like the name of that. Scotts Bluff. I think that is him. I'm almost 90% sure. Washington, Seattle, somehow, some way. Cool. Well, that might mean there's conservatives in Seattle, or it's a liberal in Seattle that's ticked off at me right now. Kansas. Olathe and Overland Park. Cool. It's just fun. It's a fun new tool. Yeah, it's a fun like new toy. Wisconsin. Waukene. Cool. Waukene. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Almost done. I apologize if I'm boring you out there. Florida. Homosassa. Okay. That's interesting. Very interesting name. But yeah, nice to, just in case you're listening to me right now, thank you so much, Connecticut. And not enough data. Maybe that's going to say that for the rest. Connecticut. Hartford. Rhode Island. Not enough data. Okay, sorry. Rhode Island, where they say, get out of here, Joey. Get out of here. Apple Podcasts, Amazon Alexa, web browser, Spotify, and other. Probably Google Podcasts is the other. But thank you, all of you, so much for listening to the show. I really appreciate it. I really do. Please write a positive rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. That's a place where you can do that. Audible, I believe. Did I leave it open for questions? Yeah, well, it always is open for questions. Was there any on this show? Nothing. So hopefully, Donna, if you're available, or anybody else on Spotify that use Spotify, you can have any kind of a question or comment on there. It really help on Spotify. Otherwise, again, the Twitter account at Freedom of Thou, and of course Freedom of Thou 1776, and of course again Freedom of Thought 1776 on Facebook. With that said, again, just focus on improving things. Pray more, pray more. Go to church more if you haven't been. Focus more on God again, and just be focused like you are. Focused like you need to be better in 2023. With that said, again, this is the last show of 2023, particularly at least for Freedom of Thought. We'll talk to you next year, and God bless the United States of America.